Alright, so I thought I'd do a quick video on mining and n-vidia's attempts at mitigating this so that, well, anyway, I'll give it some background from what I know. So mining a certain coin has become quite popular again, and mining is not limited to just two coins. There are many coins to mine, and you can use GPUs to mine them. So what I understand is n-vidia is limiting, or trying to limit, the effectiveness of mining a certain coin. Now, they say this kind of mitigation is in the drivers. And to be honest, if they want to have any kind of effect, it'll need to be an in-silicon mitigation. Now, all that aside, I'll give you a question. All right. The question should go like this: if you have a GPU and the company they install they gimp it in a way. Let's use the word gimp. They gimp it in a way. They gimp it in such a way that they say, "Oh, now mining this coin will only be 50% effective." Now, adding something in there to prevent something from working properly, do you think that'll improve the gaming performance, reduce the gaming performance, or have no effect at all? That's a question. Now, I'm so sure it will have an effect because, another example, CPUs that were affected by the Spectre and Meltdown, you can't fix that problem. Not without, I don't know, you can't send your CPU to the workshop and get it and get it fixed. So they have software fixes, and so yeah, the software fixes the problems, but in fixing the problems you also lose some performance in everything, and notably gaming, because these CPUs that I wouldn't say they're sought after. They're like 4-core, 8 thread CPUs, and they're old. And if you gimp the performance, then there is not really a reason to consider buying something that old. You know, you could just go with the first or second gen Ryzen and be done with it. So then people say, hey, should I enable this or disable it? If I disable it, I get all the performance and I get the vulnerability, which I believe, don't quote me on this, but I think the vulnerability requires the person to actually be present at your computer to be able to vulnerize you. So yeah, I think there's another couple of examples where software mitigation has been detrimental to performance. So gimping mining performance is, first of all, okay, so the marketing reason, I believe, behind this is so that miners don't buy up these GPUs, all of them, stick them in a big warehouse, solar powered, hydro powered, whatever, and just dig away. They don't want them to do that. So they say, hey, we're going to release this really nice GPU, good price, good performance. The mining is gimped through driver. And when I heard through driver, I thought, no way. This is going to be worked around so fast because miners, there's money in it. And if there's money in it, there's someone willing to do something about it. So you get a bunch of smart people. There's millions of smart people anyway, and they make drivers for things. You know, like I remember back in high school, my friend, he was just like, "Hey, you heard about Linux?" I was like, "No, what the hell is Linux?" And he's like, "Oh, it's this free operating system." And I looked at it and I was like, "Oh, it's kind of ugly." And he's like, "Oh yeah, it takes some getting used to, and sometimes there are no drivers for things." And I was like, "Huh? There's no drivers for like network or something? Then how do you use it?" And it's like, you make the driver. So that's my smart friend from high school. Like, I don't want to say the number, many years ago. And so, if my friend from high school can make a network driver for Linux, then I'm sure there are many more people that can just make drivers for GPUs. And I don't even think that's that difficult. Like from one driver revision to another, you can just compare what has changed and then just go through each DLL or whatever by themselves. I've done something like that before, not with drivers, but just comparing versions and seeing what has been changed. So bottom line, this mitigation is not going to do anything. The GPU is still going to be snatched up by miners because we've been told miners will love these GPUs. n-vidia decided, I don't know if they're still doing it, I don't think they should because reasons. They're releasing mining only GPUs, and so what I think these are just like the shitty silicon that couldn't be used for doing normal GPU tasks. So they're just going to be sold as mining GPUs, like the I think RX 470, 570, 480, 580. They did those ones where they released them without a display port, and in some cases that was it. They only removed the display port. The PCB design still had all the traces for the display port, and so if you're a little bit handy with a soldering iron and I don't want to say heat gun, but something like that, you can just put a display port back on, or HDMI port, or whatever was missing in the final product. So I believe these things will look more like a Tesla. No display ports, no outputs. Just stick them in the computer. They will have limited. I don't think they'll be so limited in gaming performance actually. They'll just be less than desirable silicon, and they'll say, yep, here's these GPUs, you can mine on them, and when mining them doesn't become profitable anymore, you can't sell them back to gamers because they're shit. They can't be gamed on. You might be able to sell them as some kind of machine learning cards, or encoding, decoding, video encoding, video decoding, just some GPU tasks like that. But for gaming, I don't see how it's happening. Could be good for virtual gaming, like what Stadia, if Stadia is still a thing, what Stadia does, or the old n-vidia one. It's in a data center. The GPU's in the data center, and so it's not gonna work. This is a GPU that I would really be after. Like, I don't buy GPUs very often. To be honest, in here it's a R9 380 Nitro, Sapphire Nitro, I think it is, and it's just fine for me. I can play most latest games. I can play with some, not with the high textures or anything like that. And to be honest, I don't game that much anymore. It suits me fine for what I do. I do some video rendering. They can help me render faster. My next GPU will probably be RX something, or in a couple of years if I decide I'm gonna get the RTX 3060. So that's my say on it. Driver mitigation won't do anything, not for long. Hardware mitigation is where they should have done it, but if they did it, then the gaming performance will be less than desirable. Maybe they wouldn't know. They wouldn't be able to have a ungimped RTX 3060 and a gimped RX 3060 to compare them to, because they'll all be released as gimped. They would only be able to compare the RX 3060 to maybe the 3060 Ti or a 2060 Super, and see, hey, it's actually not worth it to buy this RTX 3060 because my 2060 Super or do they do Ti, it's still much better than it. Maybe this has got more RT cores, more RAM, but I don't use the RAM. And what's really I don't use the RT cores, so I'm keeping my 2060 or my, you just get that kind of mindset. Anyway, I have rambled on for 10 minutes and 24 seconds. That's all. I'm going to go and take my dog for a walk. See you later. Have a nice day.